Welcome everyone to Lit-erature, a college student's best friend. My name is Christina Foti, and today I will be hosting and educating you. I hope this show eases any stress you might be feeling because we have all been there before. We are here to save the day. Thank you.
Welcome, my name is Valerie Sanabria, and I have a question to ask you. Are you a procrastinator? Do you hate reading books but want to pass your test? Well, you're in the right place. This show is actually better than Spark Notes because you can listen and watch rather than read about any novel. Literature will help you expand your knowledge quick and easy. On today's episode, we will be discussing The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
The Great Gatsby is a classic 20th century novel that was published in 1925. The setting takes place summertime 1922 in West Egg and East Egg of Long Island.
Nick Carraway, one of the main characters of The Great Gatsby, moves from Minnesota to New York. His purpose was to further his education about the bond business. Nick rents a house on West Egg where the population is mainly consumed by the new rich. New rich is a group of people that have recently become rich. Old rich, aka East Egg, is populated by people that were born rich or have established fortunes over a long time period. A man named Jay Gatsby was known for throwing lit parties on West Egg every Saturday night.
Everybody wanted to be a part of his Project X mansion parties. Jay Gatsby secretly loved a woman named Daisy who resided on East Egg and was married to a fella named Tom. Tom had an undisclosed romantic relationship with a woman named Myrtle Wilson. Mrs. Wilson was from the Valley of Ashes. Valley of the Ashes was described to be a town of poverty between West Egg and New York City. In the middle of the novel is when things started to take a turn for the worst. Jay and Daisy started chilling together, which arose some suspicion from her husband, Tom. Although Tom was already having an affair, he wasn't too fond of his with Jay Gatsby. Tom knew that Gatsby was in love with his wife and eventually confronted Jay about it when they were in New York City. Tom was furious about the situation that he tells Daisy Jay Gatsby was a criminal. Gatsby's fortune comes from bootleg and alcohol and illegal activity. As things are declining, Daisy uses Gatsby's car to run over and kill Myrtle. Tom decides to blame the murder of Myrtle on Gatsby. Myrtle's husband, George, then shoots and kills Jay Gatsby at his mansion poolside and then executed himself. What a sad love story.
What do you think about the book? What do you think that makes The Great Gatsby great?
It's just the way it was written. It's a classic. I mean, it's kind of obvious that it's a classic, but it's read in a multitude of different grades. It's read in high school. It's brought to college. And it just, when you're reading it, it's almost like you can see what's happening while you're reading it. You get the visuals of the outfits and of the parties that Gatsby would host. You see like the riches and all of the money. You could see the happiness. You could see the fear and the terror. And it's just, it's a very nice visual book. And I usually, personally, I struggle with usually like comprehending what I read. But when I remember reading Great Gatsby and, it just, because of the way that the words translated into visuals, it was easier to read.
Well, in my opinion, it's a really complex book, but because of the themes and the different things in the book that make it so difficult you don't know sometimes where you are, but I think that's a really good thing what you say before, that it takes us there. It's basically like we can go back in time to the Roaring 20s, and we're there with Gatsby in the parties, and we're dancing, and we can listen to the music. And I think that's the best part of the book, because you can feel like you're there, you're part of everything in the book.
I feel like it's easier to relate to a story like that when you feel like you could actually kind of like jump into the book. But one of the other like main things that they talk about in the book is like, East Egg versus West Egg, new rich versus old rich. And, people who aren't very fortunate or, less fortunate, they don't really see rich people. They just see rich people as, they're just rich people. I want to be just like them. I want to look, I want to act, I want to talk like them. But in the rich reality, there's two different kinds of rich, and they don't really get along. The new rich people who just came into their money, they don't see the old rich the old money people like that. They were born into it. They feel like they didn't really work for it. They were just given it and hand delivered. So it's a very controversial topic that I feel like they put very nicely inside of the book.
Exactly. Like we think that when we see rich people, their lives is perfect. Their lives are it's just perfect, and we want to be like them. But in this book, we can see the reality of how things are. And also, I think the characters are really strong in this book because, for example, Gatsby. Well, he's the main character, and I feel like he is great. He did even if he got where he got doing illegal things, he worked hard because he had this purpose. His goal was to get to Daisy and be in love with her and have a happy life with her. And I feel like he did everything he could to get to her, even if the the ending was sad. I feel like it was a great character.
He never really gave up. Like, he really pushed for what he wanted, and it just showed, the story just shows how powerful love is. Like, you see someone, I mean, well, granted that there was some adultery being committed, so it wasn't the best situation, but there's murder involved. This character Daisy is just so angry with this Myrtle character for being intimate with her husband, and she runs her over, and it's like the car is that's to me that's just it just shows how powerful and how crazy love truly makes you.
And also the fact that many things that happen in the book also were part of the author's life.
Yes.
It makes it great because we can relate to it. Fitz Scott, the author,
Yes.
he many of the things that happen in the book happened to him. The book he dedicated the book to Zelda,
Okay,
and
yeah.
she was his Daisy,
Right.
like the real life Daisy. And I feel like that makes it even better.
Definitely. All right. Well, The Great Gatsby reflects on how wealth, dishonesty, and greed is very, very powerful. Even in my generation, this is a continuous issue. People lose sight of their worth and self-respect when money is involved. Some people want more than what they can have. Wealth wealth will have you with somebody you need rather than somebody you want. To my fellow college students, stay true to yourself. Stay tuned for the next episode of Lit-erature, and thank you so much for watching.